Thank you for coming today. I'm attorney Gloria Allred, and with me is my client, Mamie Mitchell. I'll be making a statement. Mamie will also be making a statement. I will take questions. Mamie will not be taking any questions. Today we filed a lawsuit in Los Angeles County Superior Court on behalf of our client, Mamie Mitchell, against actor, producer Alec Baldwin, and numerous other producers of the movie Rust. In our lawsuit, we allege that on October 21st, 2021, Alexander Baldwin, Alec Baldwin, fired a loaded gun, killing Halyna Hutchins, injuring Joel Souza, and causing physical and emotional injuries to Mamie Mitchell, the script supervisor, standing in the line of fire when the gun went off. Days before the shooting, there were warning signs that there were dangerous conditions related to guns on the set. A camera operator had reported 2 gun discharges during a rehearsal in a cabin. Quote, "This is super unsafe," end quote. The camera operator wrote in a text message to the production manager. On the day of the shooting, union camera operators and their assistants had walked off the job to protest working conditions, including safety issues. Important industry safety protocols designed to ensure that firearms would be safely used were ignored, and actions were taken that were against all industry norms. Industry safety protocols are contained in the industry-wide Labor Management Safety Committee bulletins, which I am distributing today. Here are some examples of failure to follow industry safety protocols. 1, live ammunition was allowed onto the set despite the fact that live ammunition is never to be used nor brought onto any studio lot or stage. 2, the gun was handed to Alec Baldwin by the assistant director. Guns are never to be handled by anyone other than the prop master or armorer. Mr. Baldwin, an industry veteran, knew that the gun in question should never have been given to him by the assistant director, and that he could not rely upon any statement by the assistant director as to whether or not the gun was safe to use. The industry-wide safety bulletin for use of firearms requires that all firearms are to be treated as though they are loaded. Mr. Baldwin should have assumed that the gun in question was loaded unless and until it was demonstrated to him that it was not, or checked by him that it was not loaded. Even if the assistant director made an alleged statement to Mr. Baldwin that the gun he was handing to Mr. Baldwin was a, quote, cold gun, end quote, Mr. Baldwin should not have relied on such a statement. 4, the industry norm is that the armorer hands the gun to the actor and demonstrates to the actor, in this case Mr. Baldwin, that the gun chamber is empty. Mr. Baldwin knew that this was the norm and that it was not followed, and he did not check the gun himself. Further, the industry norm and safety bulletin requires that no one shall be issued a firearm until he or she is trained in safe handling, safe use, the safety lock, and proper firing procedures. Mr. Baldwin knew, or should have known, that this was the safety protocol and chose to ignore it. 5, all guns and ammunition are supposed to be secured throughout the production. The armorer is required to keep all guns and ammunitions locked up or to stay with the guns until they are used. Instead, the armorer is alleged to have allowed guns and ammunition to be left unattended on a rolling cart outside the church at midday on Thursday during the lunch break. 6, safety bulletins published by the industry-wide Labor Management Safety Committee are expected to be sent to everyone that gets the call sheet for the day. This was not done as required. This is just one of the many safety protocols that were not followed that day. We allege in our lawsuit that the events that led to the shooting by Mr. Baldwin of a loaded gun do not constitute simple negligence on Alec Baldwin's part or the producers of Rust. Instead, in our opinion, Mr. Baldwin chose to play Russian roulette when he fired a gun without checking it and without having the armorer do so in his presence. His behavior and that of the producers on Rust was reckless. The fact that live ammunition was allowed on a movie set, that guns and ammunition were left unattended on a cart and allowed to be handled by those who had no business handling them, the fact that safety bulletins were not promulgated or ignored makes this a case where injury or death was much more than just a possibility. It was a likely result. That is why we filed our lawsuit today and are alleging assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and deliberate infliction of harm. That is also why we are seeking compensatory and punitive damages for Mamie, who was shocked, traumatized, and who suffered physical and emotional harm because of what she saw, heard, and experienced when she was in the line of fire when Alec Baldwin's gun discharged a live bullet on that day. We look forward to proving our case in a court of law and winning justice for Mamie Mitchell.
Good morning. Before Halyna was shot and killed, and our director Joel was shot and injured on the set of Rust, my life was fairly simple, and I was generally a very healthy and happy woman with one large responsibility. I'm the guardian to a sister 4 years older than me who's severely intellectually disabled and in a group home in Texas. I've been her primary decision maker since 1996. On Thursday, October 21st, 2021, I got up early and drove to Bonanza Creek Ranch for a 6:30 a.m. call. When I got there, I was told that the camera crew and both of the second ACs and camera utility had quit because of safety issues and other issues related to their working conditions. That morning, we shot scene 115 in the church with Alec, and then we blocked and rehearsed scene 118. We did 3 camera setups for scene 118 and broke for lunch. The camera setups to complete the scene in the afternoon were discussed between Joel, Halyna, and me. I was sitting at a table doing my lunch report, and Halyna walked by and flashed her gorgeous smile at me. I'm never going to forget that. She was a great collaborator on the set and my new friend. She was pure light. She just had beautiful energy. After lunch, I went inside the church with members of the crew to get ready for the camera setup that we had discussed before lunch. I saw Alec going through his movement with the gun for the camera. I was holding my script in my left hand and had taken out my iPhone and opened up my photos to check the continuity on his shirt and vets. Then an explosion. Deafening, loud gunshot. I was stunned. I heard someone moaning, and I turned around, and my director was falling backwards and holding his upper body. And I turned around toward Alec, and I saw Halyna going down to the left of me. I ran outside and called 911 for help. We waited, and eventually they brought Halyna out to the ambulance, waiting outside the door. She was on a stretcher and not moving. They had some kind of large oxygen balloon thing on her face, and her left hand was on her stomach. It was blue. I could not believe this was happening. I gave my statement to law enforcement and drove home. 10 minutes after I got home, someone notified me that she was dead. I stood in my driveway screaming. I'll never forget what happened on the set of Rust that day. I relived the shooting and the sound of the explosion from the gun over and over again. I'm depressed. I don't feel safe. I feel like at any moment anything could happen to me and to those that I care about that are standing close to me. I don't have a sense of guardrails in my life to keep me safe. I'm frightened of the future. This violent tragedy has taken away the joy in my life. I have also lost a new friend who was an extraordinary and rare person and future collaborator. Halyna was a woman who spoke the same language of film as I did, and I've been robbed of my new friend. I'm very sad and heartbroken for her son and husband, her sister and family, and all of her friends who are suffering this preventable and unimaginable loss. I never want what happened on our set to ever happen to anyone else. I've spent 40 years as a script supervisor and in other capacities in this industry. Before this happened, it has always been a safe space, familiar, stimulating, and inspiring place for me to be. It's where I have had my career and made a living. I've worked all over this country and in films where there were guns on the set. I have never before seen anything like what happened on October 21st. And I never want to see what happened on that day happen again. Thank you.
So before I take questions. Yeah. This is the copy of the industry-wide Labor Management Safety Committee safety bulletin. So this is and this has been recommended by industry-wide Labor Management Safety Committee for the motion picture and television industry. And I have provided you with this, in addition, an explanation of it. The explanation is that the Safety Committee and Safety Bulletins are representative of the commitment of both labor and management to safe practices in the motion picture and television industry. So we think they should be followed. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be happy to take some questions, and we will provide you with a copy of the lawsuit at the end of the press conference.
Well, Gloria, during the 911 call, you can hear Mamie mention the AD Dave Halls. Is he mentioned in the suit?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question.
During the 911 call that she made, you can hear her talking about Assistant Director Dave Halls. Is he named in the suit?
Was she?
Is he named in the suit?
Is he named in the suit? The producers are named in the suit. We will send you a copy. I have to take a look at the caption. We have so many people named in the suit.
Who is believed was ultimately responsible?
Excuse me, Renee, would you please see if they We have copies of the suit yet from Diane. Have her bring them in. Thank
Ms.
you.
Allred, who is it that is believed to ultimately be responsible here, or is it believed to be a variety?
It's hard to hear back here, so if you could speak up, I'd appreciate it. Sorry.
Who is it believed or alleged to be responsible here for this? Or is it a
Well,
variety?
we have sued all of the producers. And that's for the reasons that I provided to you in my statement, which are more fully explained and articulated in the lawsuit.
Has Ms. Mitchell had any interaction with Alec Baldwin since this happened? Has there been any reaching out or speaking with him?
No.
As you know, there was another lawsuit filed just last week by the lighting director of Rust. Was there any effort to consolidate cases, or is there advantage to filing separately?
We have had no contact with either the lawyers or the lawyer's client who filed last week. You can just leave them there. Yeah, but don't give them out. If you give me one, please. Thank you. Okay. All right, so those that we named in the caption of the lawsuit are the following, and you can pick up copies as you leave. Rust Movie Productions, LLC, Alexander R. Baldwin III, El Dorado Pictures, Inc., Ryan Janelle Smith, an individual, Langley Allen Cheney, an individual, Thomasville Pictures, LLC, Nathan Klingher, an individual, Ryan Winterstern, an individual, Short Porch Pictures, LLC, Angel Nigam, an individual, Brittany House Pictures, Matthew Del Piano, Calvary Media, Gabrielle Pickle, Third Shift Media, a domestic limited liability company, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, an individual, Sarah Zachary, an individual, Seth Kenny, an individual, David Halls, an individual, Catherine Walters, an individual, Chris M.B. Sharp, an individual, Jennifer Lamb, an individual, Emily Salveson, an individual, Streamline Global, and does 1 through 100. Any other questions?
Ms.